Chapter 30. Release. I arrived at my refuge around 7 in the evening. I entered with my laptop and a bag of fast food bought at a gas station along the way. By this time, Laura and Enrique should be arriving at my house in Lisbon. I was curious and a little worried, although I knew Lilith knew what she was doing and that hardly anything would happen at home. Still, there was something about all of this that left me apprehensive. The fact that I wasn't there might actually be beneficial. My presence could somehow antagonize Enrique, the clash of males, and worse, me being in my territory, and therefore being the dominant male. He wouldn't be comfortable right from the start and would be restless. My absence made the whole situation easier. I set the bag with the food, 2 sandwiches, and a can of beer, along with the laptop on the living room table. I opened the laptop and one of the plastic containers of one of the sandwiches, tuna, I think, and continued writing. I got lost in writing a story that made perfect sense. Because it was mine, because it was lived, but even more so now. It's not every day that a goddess touches a mortal, let alone claims to love him. Lilith, Lilichu, Isis, and who knows who else did it. I felt the touch of immortality in me, but also the sadness of knowing that she would have to move on and I would be left behind. It's not a mortal's privilege to accompany the gods. However, I still wanted to know more about her. If there were more goddesses, what common lives she had chosen, and I also lacked the detail. What was the reason or reasons for coming to me, for revealing herself? And I still also lacked an end to my story. And this was the point that scared me. In mythology, mortals who became involved with gods never fared well. I didn't believe I was the exception to the rule. Around 3 in the morning, I had written everything I had to write. I closed the laptop and poured myself a whiskey. I went to my terrace to smoke. The night was cold. Very cold, but strangely, the cold didn't bother me, quite the contrary. It was a pleasant sensation, contrasting with the warm smoke that enveloped my lungs with each puff, or the warmth of the alcohol with each sip. I closed my eyes. I felt involved in the world instead of apart from it. The cold wind on my face, the sound of the ocean waves. I understood why she plunged into the sea at every opportunity. She felt part of what surrounded her, an integral part of the world. I was there at that moment, but my life was nothing. The ocean waves and the wind had been there for an immeasurable time. They had seen life appear, evolve, emerge from their core, spread out, and reach this moment. And they would still be here when there was no one or nothing left to hear or feel them. I put out the cigarette, set down the glass, and stripped myself of clothes and concepts, prejudices, ideas, notions, desires, wishes, vanities, loves, hatreds. I stripped myself of my ego and went down the stairs to the beach, walked on the sand to the water, and plunged into the vastness, delighted in the sensations, and opened myself to the notion that all of them were good, and I was free. I don't know how long I was in the water, savouring the force with which the waves threw me and letting myself be carried away by their will, without opposition. At some point I looked to the side, and there was Lilith, by the waterline, naked, magnificent, beautiful, desired, with a smile on her lips, a smile of understanding. From someone who doesn't need words, she joined me, and we surrendered to the immensity. Finally, we walked up the beach together, entered the house, went to the bedroom, lay down, side by side, and stared at each other in our eyes, the mirror of the soul, understanding, more than the understanding of words, the understanding of spirits. Words were superfluous, empty of meaning compared to what we said to each other. And in a fluid, liquid way, like the water we had been immersed in, our bodies sought each other, exchanged, merged. I felt her in me, the taste of her salty skin, of every part of her body, Her sex, her whole body was mine, her whole body was me, and I only wanted her elevation, her pleasure, and I felt her in me wanting the same as me, making me abandon everything. Finally, when there was nothing left of me or her, I penetrated her. Only this sensation of being her remained, this inexplicable sensation, and at that moment, I was one of the gods. At that moment, I was one of the immortals, invading domains that were forbidden to me. I abandoned myself to pleasure, felt her accompanying me. I immersed myself in the eternity of this moment that was truly eternal, for it would never fade away. It was then, while we were still united, that our bodies gave in and we fell asleep in each other's arms. Not a word was spoken. Everything that could be said had been said.